If you're like me and you've already collected all of the released fighters, I think it's time for you to check out some custom fighters.
Today we have Michael Jackson from Michael Jackson's The Experience on Nintendo Wii. And here he is, the king of pop, MJ, Michael Jackson of the Jackson 5. We can take a quick look at this absolutely fantastic miniature by the Meeple Smith. And also taking a quick look at his sidekick tokens here, just some dancers. Kind of a theme that you'll see throughout the whole deck of this kind of gray and black tones, excluding the health dial here, which is a gold vinyl record, kind of commemorating all of the #1 hits that Michael Jackson has had throughout his lifetime. Love how the health dial turned out and everything else as well in this deck. And you might be thinking to yourself, MJ is kind of a weird choice to add to Unmatched, but hey, he is so iconic, and I think if anybody could beat you up with dance, it is Michael Jackson. So let's get right into the deck here. We can see this is Michael Jackson here, a melee fighter with 14 health. He has a move of 2, and then he has 3 sidekicks there, the backup dancers, all as melee fighters. And then his special ability here is the King of Pop. Whenever you play a greatest hits card, you may move all of your fighters up to 2 spaces. So one thing you'll notice with this deck is that they are going to be moving around a lot. Hey, they're dancers, they're moving around the stage, kind of getting to the best opportunity positions to take you down. So we'll kind of see those greatest hits cards right off the bat when you first open the deck there. But I like that these fighters are on their feet with this move 2 at the end of every greatest hits. Constantly moving around, always dancing around the battlefield. Very, very cool. So we can go right into the deck here. We can take a quick look at the card back. Love how this turned out. It's not quite black and white, but this kind of silvery gray with that black. I love how it turned out. But getting right into it here, this is the first of the greatest hits card. They're all going to be these album covers with the vinyl record on this kind of velvety red background, and then this little icon here that says Michael Jackson Greatest Hits. So anytime we see one of these cards, we will be going through all of them first here. You will be basically adding onto the bottom after combat. Move, let me see, I believe move all of your fighters. Yes, move all of your fighters up to 2 spaces. So you can just kind of tack that on as after combat for all of these cards here. But yes, starting off here is a 3 attack for Michael Jackson with a 2 boost 1 copy. All of these greatest hits cards are going to be 1 copy. And you'll notice they're all named after one of his greatest hits. So this first one here is Bad, one of my favorites for Michael Jackson here. And this one just says after combat, if you won the combat, your opponent discards 1 random card. Then of course on top of that, moving all of your fighters 2 spaces. Next here is Smooth Criminal, another great one. This is a 1 attack for Jackson with 1 boost 1 copy. And this is Smooth Criminal. After combat, this card's value increases by 1 for each greatest hits card in your discard pile to a max of 5. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of these cards here. So definitely great that this is not going to be up to 10, or I guess 11 because it's increasing on there. So it will be up to a 6. So I like that they added that limit there. Next here is a Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, a 2 attack for Jackson with 2 boost 1 copy. And this is after combat, gain 1 action. Then if you have 3 or more greatest hits cards in your discard pile, draw 2 cards. And one thing that we're already seeing with these greatest hits cards that I really, really like is they all kind of interact with each other. Not all of them, but most of them have this interaction depending on how many of these greatest hits cards are in your discard pile. And I love how we have the art of all of these records here, kind of bringing back the memories of each song there. Next, another attack of 3 for Jackson here with a 4 boost and 1 copy, and this is Earth Song. After combat, deal 1 damage to each opposing fighter in Michael Jackson's zone. If you won the combat, deal 2 damage instead. So definitely can be a kind of earth-shattering ability here with that 2 damage to all in your zone. And the next here, another great one. This is Thriller, a 4 attack for Jackson with 3 boost 1 copy. And this is after combat. Put a defeated backup dancer adjacent to Michael Jackson up to the number of greatest hits cards in your discard pile. So potentially up to 3, because that's what you'll have available. But I love that's on this card here with Thriller, bringing them back as zombies. Very, very thematic. And that's all of our attack greatest hits. Moving on to our defense ones here. This is a defense of 2 with 2 boost 1 copy. And this is The Way You Make Me Feel. After combat, if you won the combat, draw 1 card for each greatest hits card in your discard pile up to a max of 5. So definitely a huge strong card for Michael Jackson here, up to a 5 draw if you have that many greatest hits. And as you see, definitely a lot of greatest hits to go through. So definitely it can bring you way back into the game. That card is definitely probably one of the strongest ones in the deck here. Next up is a defensive 1 for Jackson with a 1 boost 1 copy, and this is Man in the Mirror. After combat, this card's value increases by 1 for each greatest hits card in your discard pile, up to a max of 5. So it could potentially be a 6 defense, and I believe they meant to say during combat. You'll have to kind of home rule that or fix it whenever you print it. I definitely forgot to fix that one there. But definitely cool. Kind of the adverse of the attack one. And then going on to our versatiles here, this is a 2 versatile for Jackson, 1 boost, 1 copy, and this is Beat It. After combat, move Michael Jackson a number of spaces up to the number of greatest hits cards in your discard pile. So that one can be a crazy amount of move, obviously all the way up to 10 if you have all of the greatest hits besides this one in your discard pile. Plus, you're getting the +2 move there. Obviously, you're not going to be using that many moves, but as you can see, some craziness in this deck, but hey, we'll allow it. He is the king. He's going to get some extra crazy abilities there. Next here is a versatile of 1 for Michael Jackson with 2 boost 1 copy, and this is Black or White. During combat, switch the printed values of both cards in this combat. Definitely like that. Black and white, you know, the opposites of each other, definitely swapping the values there. One of my favorite cards from the deck here. Next here is a 3 versatile for Michael Jackson with 2 boost 1 copy, and this is Remember the Name. After combat, choose a card in your discard pile and shuffle it into your deck. Draw 2 cards. So another great strong card for Jackson there, and that's our last versatiles for the greatest hits. Moving on to our only scheme of the greatest hits for Jackson here, and is 3 boost 1 copy, and this is Billie Jean. Draw 1 card, then choose an opponent. They may choose to discard 1 card. If they do not, draw 1 more card. So potentially just a replace of this card, or replace this card and a bonus one if the opponent decides to not discard, or potentially forcing a discard there. So yeah, that's all of our greatest hits cards. Just to recap, all of these ones here with that velvety red background with the album cover and this little logo there all have the after combat effect that you get to move all of your fighters up to 2 spaces. So definitely take all of these somewhat crazy effects with some of these and add that +2 movement for all of your fighters there. So definitely a very interesting deck we're already getting into here. Next is a 2 defense here for Michael Jackson with 1 boost 2 copies, and this is after combat, Michael Jackson recovers health equal to the number of backup dancers in his zone. So potential up to 3, and we have 2 of those, so that's 6 healing for Michael Jackson here. Definitely some good healing to have in the deck. Next is our scheme for Jackson here with 2 boost 2 copies, and this is so we got both of his catchphrases here. We'll see maybe a couple more in the deck here. This is choose a greatest hits card in your discard pile and add it to your hand, gain 1 action. And we saw a couple of very strong ones here with those big defenses, big draws, and big attack there. So you can potentially get 2 of those back into your hand as the game goes on. And that is all of the cards for Jackson. Moving on to our dancer specific cards. And this is a 2 versatile for the dancers, and this is 2 boost 2 copies, and this is History Tour. After combat, draw 1 card, then move each of your fighters up to 2 spaces. Very nice. You're kind of getting that hero ability there, but on your dancers. And that's the only dancer-specific cards. Next is our Any cards, a 2 attack for Any with 3 boost 2 copies, and this is Showstopper. After combat, your opponent discards 1 random card, add its boost value to this card's attack value. And with 2 of those can definitely be very strong because you're making them discard, but also getting a bonus to your attack there. Next is a 3 defense for Any with 1 boost 2 copies, and this is Dangerous World Tour. After combat, your opponent may discard a card. If they don't, return a defeated backup dancer to a space in Michael Jackson's zone. So very cool. I mean, potentially not that strong of an effect to have the backup dancers, but definitely very annoying to have them on the deck. So I like that the decision is up to your opponent to decide if they want to, throw away a card just to stop you from getting those backup dancers back. And the next here, a card that we're all familiar with, and this is a 3 versatile for Any with 1 boost 3 copies, and this is Momentous Shift. After combat, if your fighter started this turn in a different space, this card's value is 5 instead, and I love the artwork on this one. Next here we have Moonwalker, a 4 versatile for Any with 2 boost 3 copies, and this is after combat. If a backup dancer is in Michael Jackson's zone, move him up to 3 spaces. So as you'll see with the hero ability there and a couple of the abilities in the deck there, plus all the greatest hits that we have there, there's a lot of movement in this deck. Definitely a great deck for people who kind of don't want to feel stuck. Sometimes when people are playing, they're like, oh, I just feel like I can't move. I don't want to waste my turn doing a movement. So honestly, this is a great deck I'm feeling for new players. Definitely one that my uncle, who is obsessed with Michael Jackson, is going to love here, and Moonwalker definitely adds on to that. And then lastly here we have a 2 versatile for Any with 1 boost 3 copies, and this is Faint. Immediately cancel all effects on your opponent's card, and that is the last for the deck. So yeah, let's move in straight into my final thoughts. So this deck is absolutely fantastic. As I said before, it's kind of weird to add just a random, regular person to this battling game, but I feel like Michael Jackson definitely fits the bill here. And I feel like if you love Michael Jackson, this deck is just going to feel so amazing to play because you get to go through all of his amazing records here that he has done through the past, plus a bunch of references to the different tours he's been on and a couple of the catchphrases that he would say on stage. There are a couple of cards in here, like all of these four here, that get bonuses for how many greatest hits cards you have in your discard. That can definitely feel maybe a little too powerful. I do want to reiterate, I didn't really talk about it much in the main one, but you do have to win the combat to get all that card draw, and with a 2 defense, not always likely that you're going to get it, but definitely if they throw a regroup at you, you will be winning that combat. But yeah, I think definitely a great deck for newcomers. I think this is definitely a deck that some people who have not been familiar with board games or Unmatched itself will see Michael Jackson, recognize him, and then have a absolutely fantastic time playing this deck. So definitely, as you can tell, I definitely recommend printing this one off. Now, if you want to see how to make Michael Jackson for yourself, we can get right into that. So starting off with the miniature here, if you want to get the exact one that I got here, I got them just like any other video that I've been posting here from the Meeple Smith. They always do a fantastic job with the quality, and they arrive super fast and they're pretty cheap. Moving on next to the Sidekick tokens, if you want to get the exact ones I showed off here, this is going to be from BoardGamesMaker.com. And these ones here are just these little acrylic pucks. I'll leave a link to the exact ones I ordered, and then the image I used on the front, I will also leave a link there so you can just drag and drop and get these prints up exactly how I have them there. Also from Board Games Maker is the health dial here. These are just the 2-inch cardboard circular punch outs. Then what I did is punched a hole in the middle and then cut out this little window. But for the artwork on the front and back, as well as the actual dial on the inside, I will leave a link to the product that I used for this, as well as a link to the images. And then the little plastic rivet in the middle, this is just an extra one I have from other Unmatched. They usually come with 1 or 2 extra rivets. But I believe there's a few places to get this, like Game Crafter has a couple. I will leave a link in the description if those are still in stock there. And then lastly is the deck here for Michael Jackson. You kind of notice this is kind of a hodgepodge. I took the original deck and really tweaked a lot of visual stuff about it, so I will leave 2 links in the description. The main creator here I want to give major props to is going to be GeekzillaBrazil here. So he designed this entire deck, all the effects and everything. I just kind of gave it a different visual flair. So the first one here, you'll notice the greatest hits cards actually look like this here, with just a little greatest hits card logo in the corner. So I actually revamped them all so that you actually see the album art for all of those cards, and then the logo on the bottom there. So I'll leave a link for his deck and for this deck here. And then the card back that I use is a little bit different because I wanted this kind of more simplistic, feel like kind of fits in more with Unmatched style of a card back. But this is the original card back that you can get in the description. Once again, leaving a link to his deck as well as the one that I made. And then the actual hero card here is different than his, just because I wanted to give it a little bit more flair. But yeah, if you want to get this deck, it is going to also be from BoardGamesMaker.com. I will leave a link for the exact card stock and obviously a link to all of the stuff, like all the artworks and stuff. It's going to be everything that's in the description. I feel like I'm just kind of going crazy here. It's all in the description. Just go down there, explore the links. You'll be able to print it yourself. But yeah, I got to go. My toast is burning.